Hello and welcome to today's episode of Platinum Talks Wealth. Emmy-nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers-Markwell changed gears in her television career when she realized the need to help women make sense of investing. She regularly hosts educational workshops to empower women and others to take charge of their financial future. Now, join your host, Platinum Wealth Management President Jennifer Rogers-Markwell, as she leads us into the world of money memories, money infidelities, and how these can mold our relationship with our personal finances as adults. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, and thanks for joining us on the Platinum Talks Wealth podcast. Today I'm joined by Nu, who is someone I've known for a very, very long time.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So I always ask, tell me all about you and why you do what you do.
So I provide CFO fractional services, and right now what we're doing is we're pretty much bringing the boardroom to businesses between $2 to $20 million, because Fortune 500, right? They have all the boardroom that they need to grow their business, and then anything under 2 million. I mean, usually the owner wears all the hats, and so my services include CFO. Fractional CFO services majority, but we also have like bookkeeping, operations, HR, because I think what businesses don't understand is they're all interdependent on each other. And so we bring those businesses, and the goal is to make sure the businesses are proactive in all of their financials, operations, because I think a lot of business owners, what they don't know is, they sell their businesses off of EBITDA. And so our goal is to make sure that their EBITDA is as high as possible when they go out to sell, because, you can range from a $9 million sale price to $6 million if you don't do your financials right. And so that's my passion. I really want to help owners do that. And because, I'm an underdog. If I feel like 2 to 20 million, they're underdogs too. And it's like, you work so hard for your business, make it mean something, make it worth it. And so that's the reason why I'm so passionate about helping business owners.
Totally. And I feel like, you hit it spot on, right? As a business owner, when you're starting out and growing, you're wearing every single hat. And it's so hard to scale and to keep growing when you're doing everything. I teased, like when I started, I was like buying pens and pencils, taking out the trash. And again, some of that I still do. But being able to lean into a fractional CFO to take over, that aspect, making sure that we're doing all the right things in the business and outside the business, and really focus on what you're strong at, just helps you lift and grow, I think, in such a more thoughtful way than you being so stressed out, having to do everything all at once.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. And so, and once you get to 2 million as one single business owner, that's when you're already thinking, okay, I need to start hiring people. You just can't do it all. And you definitely can't grow from 2 to 20 million without not having any staff. You know what I mean? So that's where we come in to bring in that boardroom of making sure that you're growing and your basically your business is running how it should be. And I think that's the missing piece, right? Like Fortune 500 companies have all of these, people who are in the boardroom making all these decisions. And then the business owner is left with, okay, I have to do all of this on my own because I can't afford to hire all of those people, because those people can cost, $600,000 to $1 million, and that cuts into your profits too.
So I have known you for a very long time. I was trying to think back, and it's been like 25 years. I was trying to do some math there, and I'm like, ooh, that's some dirty math.
Jen, don't age us.
I know. So thinking through that, obviously I've known you in different capacities and different roles. How did you evolve from where you were to where you are now in your path?
Well, I grew up super poor, right? And given the fact that my parents have always pushed us for education, making sure that we are something, that we have some kind of success. And so as I'm going along my journey, and I didn't always follow the linear path, I guess, of going to school, getting your degree, having a job. I had my kids when I was young. So I had 3 kids by the time I was 26. And I think what led me to the path was because I didn't have a degree, there wasn't a lot of open doors for me. So I had to create my own path. And what is that? It's being a tax preparer, being a bookkeeper. That's what I started out with. And as I'm growing this business, I thought, wow, like this can give me financial freedom and I'm on my time, right? And I essentially created it because I needed a flexibility because I have 3 kids and you can't go to a job that pays $18 an hour and pay daycare. Like it's just, that's impossible. And so as I'm going through this and I just started to realize helping other business owners like, wow, they need this too, because they created their own path. But I really did, and then it started talking, I started thinking about freedom, right? Because to me, money is just a tool to get you to the freedom. I mean, what does freedom look like to me? It's, hey, you know what? I'm going to take the rest of the day off because I really want to spend time with my husband. Or I want to go to lunch with my husband, or I just want to spend time with my kids. I want to travel with them without having to worry about money. So I think people, they can tell me like, well, it's not always about money. Great if it's not, but money is the tool to get to where all the freedom that you're going to have. Right. And so I think that's what led me to my path. And I always thought like, we had so much like I had a scarcity mindset where I just thought, I'm gonna afford all of the money I got. I'm going to, I think that's what we were taught, Jen, is that, you work hard, whether you're a W-2 or whenever you created yourself a job and then you retire. And that's honestly not what I wanted for my life. I want to be able to have that freedom of really spending that money without having to think twice. And it could be as simple as my kids saying, hey mom, I need a car, right? Because in high school, like, I would tell my dad I need a car. My parents think we don't have that kind of money to buy a car. You have to share the car. And I remember that where we drove in green big Malibu and it was so old that you can turn the engine on without even having a key. I mean, it was that bad, you know? So then I didn't want my kids to grow up that way. I want them to be able to say, hey, mom, I need these things. And I'm able to support them freely without having any restrictions of, hey, I don't have the money to help you. Now it becomes a choice. So meaning, hey, I'm not going to buy you a $10,000 car, but I'll buy you a $5,000 car for you to get from point A to point B. But I have that choice. You know what I mean? So I think that's why I work so hard. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like with you too, now you have your kids also helping and supporting in your business. So you're teaching them that solid work ethic and they're growing up watching you work hard, have the flexibility, and now you're engaging them in the same world.
Right. Yeah. And, I started to realize like, what do I want to leave my kids with? And Jen, honestly, money's not going to do it. Right. And so for me, leaving my kids with the work ethic, right? The knowledge, that is my legacy. I want to leave this world one day and my kids are like, man, my mom taught me how to, run this business, how to have this kind of work ethic that I think a lot of people might not have, right? So those are the things that I want to leave them that they can carry on forever. And then that gets passed down to their children, hopefully. You know what I mean? But that's what I started to realize too.
You are listening to the Platinum Talks Wealth podcast.
Hey, it's Jennifer. I wanted to take a quick break to remind you that you are worthy to have a seat at the table when it comes to money and your finances. We, both me and my team at Platinum Wealth Management, want to meet you where you are. Whether you're starting out, starting over, or have been investing for years, reach out to us at platinumwealth.net or call us at 775-717-0001. We'd be honored to help.
And now, back to the podcast.
I honestly didn't ever want my kids or my family working in a business. I just felt I've helped so many business owners too that, there's so much family drama. But I don't know. I came to the realization that, you know what? I mean, that's the most important thing to leave my kids is the knowledge, the work ethics, them knowing the business. And hopefully one day they might want to take over. But in some capacity, right? Like that's what I leave them and not necessarily, just money. Because if you leave that can be gone in a day if they don't know what to do with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great points on that. And actually that segues right into kind of money memories, which you have shared a little bit. And hopefully what you're teaching your kids is planting the seed for their money memories moving forward too. But for you, what's a money memory that you have as a younger person or as a child that helped mold your relationship to money now as an adult?
Gosh, that's a hard question for me because I grew up super poor, scarcity, work hard, save all your money. And then as I'm going through my journey, I just thought, well, saving all of my money might not make me the money or have the freedom that I wanted. So how do I multiply the money? So, you go through this journey. Just I think that we're ever growing as people. And so my mindset has shifted. And so now it's not, I used to have scarcity, like a scarcity mindset. Um, because of that, because it's kind of like, hey, we grew up with no money. So, you got to save for this, you got to do this. And for me now, it's about how do I multiply my money and create, a wealth that's, everlasting versus, let me just hold on to everything. I feel like the more you hold on to it too, the less you have, in all honesty. And so it's really just letting go, but learning about money as a tool and how do you multiply it? How do you build wealth around that? And I think at the end of the day, you'll be okay. And I feel like money comes and goes, right? So even if I lost all of my money, I've built skills to create money. And so then, if I went down to zero, I have the skills to build myself back up. And so I think that that's really my relationship to money now.
And that's priceless, right? To have the
Right.
skills to fall back on because you're right. You invest, you do the right things. Some people bury it in their backyard or put it under their bed. I mean, you evolve and you grow naturally of how do I
Mhm.
make money for me and work for me as a tool. And I love that you keep saying tool too, because that
Yeah.
is something that I say often on this podcast because a lot of people sometimes lean into money is my God and money is everything. And money's a
Mhm.
tool. So you can
Yeah.
make decisions based on what you want to do and what you want your life to look like. So I think that's beautiful that you keep sharing that too. So
No, thank you. Yeah, because I just feel like people, they're always saying money's on everything. I'm like, what? And you want to, fly your whole family. I mean, I have 5 kids. If I wanted to fly my kids to Germany, it costs a lot of money for us to fly there, right? So money's the tool that gets us there. You know what I mean? And for me, it's creating memories with my kids. Well, that also costs money too. So yeah, that's how I see it.
No, thank you for sharing that. So that transitions over to financial infidelities, which for a lot of
Mhm.
folks can kind of be a scary, hairy topic. But what's
Yeah.
a financial infidelity that you've experienced or that you've witnessed that you think others could learn from?
I think a lot of it is myself. I mean, especially my younger self. I had no budget. I'm just gonna spend what I make, um, and living paycheck to paycheck. And so it's learning that, and it was so overwhelming for me, Jen, because when I started thinking about, okay, now how do I save money? And then how do I also contribute to, society with my money, which is donation, and then building my wealth, it becomes this overwhelming process for me. Because what happened was, I would spend all of my money or I would save all of my money, right? And so there's no in between. And I think it became so overwhelming. So I had to come up with a process to say, you know what, 10% for this, 10% for that, and then 80%, maybe you could do whatever you want with it. And so I had to really come out of that, but the infidelity of it was just spending like crazy. Like the more I made, the more I spent, and it's just not always the way, you know what I mean? For me, it's there's a balance in all of that.
And I feel like you said the word budget. And I feel
Mhm.
like for some people that has such a negative connotation where and I don't know if we need to rename it into something else, like you're, you know,
Yeah.
able to spend more, right? Some calling it something magical or, fantastic, but budget I
Right.
think scares people. But ultimately, back to your point too, budget gives you the freedom to know what you can spend and where you can spend
Mhm.
it.
You're right. You're right. Because, I mean, I think that, and of course, majority of us were impulse buyers, right? And so if you don't budget yourself, then you go outside of your budget. And then at the end of the month, I feel like it's almost like a self-infliction. So I would self-inflict because I had no budget. So then you're spending here and there. And then you come back at the end of the month and you're like, man, I am so broke. But it's because you didn't put something in place. And so when you do put a budget in place, Jen, you actually have more freedom because you already know, hey, I'm safe with my investments. I'm safe that, because I donate, I'm safe that, hey, I donate and I feel good about that because I want to give back. Right. And then, I have a budget for my kids and I feel good because when they come ask me, I have that money. And then the rest, you know what? I can spend and have fun. And if I don't have that, I need to make sure that, I have it the next month or my bucket is filled with that amount of money, right? And I think people do feel that like, oh, it's a constraint when you're budgeting, but in reality, I felt so much more free like after I did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Totally. I feel like
Yeah.
our thread through this has been being free, feeling free and freedom, right? For sure.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I think that's what people need to understand. It gives you more freedom than you think. And you just have to jump in and do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So yeah.
Well, that again, I feel like everything's transitioning beautifully here.
Just back
Let's right into what are tips and or tricks that you use to utilize money differently in your household? You've shared a little bit with budgeting. What other magical things can you share?
Because I'm a business owner and I live through my company a lot. All my kids are part of the business. And that comes, when you're running a company, that comes with budgets too, right? And so my tip is, if you own a business, live through your company as much as possible legally. And number two, do truly budget and give yourself more room than you think. Like, don't have that scarcity mindset of I'm going to hold on to everything, because I feel like the more you hold on to stuff, the more you lose it. And money, you just have to think of it as it's a flow, right? And so make sure that it flows in and out, but don't go to the end of the spectrum of, hey, I'm going to spend everything I got, but I'm going to save everything I got. Make sure that that's balanced, and that's my advice to people.
That's awesome because I
Yeah.
think from our generation, right, growing up, like we kept our head down, we worked really hard. But there also comes a time to be thoughtful with a budget, know what you're spending, but also live, right? Live as
Right.
you're navigating through and have those great experiences that create those really priceless memories for you and your family and your loved ones. Like
Yeah.
try to figure it all out. And I say balance. My team laughs at me because we are not good at balance. So now we phrased it as lifestyle. It's a lifestyle now, right? Like
Yes.
we live a lifestyle where we work and we play and we navigate and we try to do everything that we can in a thoughtful manner.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for making time today.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
Of
I
course,
just
of
love
course.
that we're connecting because we know each other for so long, and I just love it.
And I love our paths have come back together. It's
I
fantastic.
know. Can you believe that? I love it. So thank you.
Of course. And hopefully those of you watching and or listening will join us on the next Platinum Talks Wealth podcast.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, Platinum Talks Wealth, please subscribe and share. For more information about Jennifer Rogers Markwell or Platinum Wealth Management, please visit www.platinumwealth.net. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA and SIPC. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. The guest speakers and their companies are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Platinum Wealth Management.